Right now, a closer look at recent incidents of violence at Wisconsin's only youth prison after a staff member there is killed in an attack. And we're less than 24 hours away from President Biden and former President Trump squaring off on the debate stage, how both candidates are preparing. It's all ahead on News 3 Now at 10. Earlier today, the 16-year-old inmate accused of a deadly assault on a counselor from Monday night made his first court appearance. Javarius Hurd is facing several charges in the case, 4 in all. That includes second-degree reckless homicide and felony murder. Right now, Hurd in custody, being held on a $100,000 cash bond for the death of 49-year-old Corey Prue. Flags will fly at half-staff through tomorrow in his memory. Now, the attack happened at the Lincoln Hills Copper Lake School in Irma. That's in northern Wisconsin. Now, since 2011, it's been the only juvenile detention facility in the entire state, and this, of course, is not the first violent incident there. In 2015, the Wisconsin Department of Justice started that criminal investigation after multiple physical and sexual assaults were reported between staff and inmates. Then, 2 years later, the ACLU filed a lawsuit alleging horrific living conditions at that facility. Then in 2018, then Governor Scott Walker announced Lincoln Hills Copper Lake would close by January of 2021. But now, 3 years after that deadline, it's still open and a staff member is dead. Today, several lawmakers releasing statements calling the death preventable. It also comes after 9 former Department of Corrections officers were charged in connection with 2 deaths at the state prison in Waupun. Both incidents shining a spotlight on issues within the DOC. This afternoon, our Braden Ross sat down with the chair of the Assembly Committee on Corrections to hear what the legislature plans to do with that spotlight. Braden?
Yeah, Representative Michael Schraw has spent much of his career focused on Wisconsin's prison system. He says after years of unanswered pleas for change in the department, the legislature is finally ready to step in.
To me, we are at crisis levels.
That's Representative Michael Schraw 5 years ago.
This is, really everything you've been warning about coming to a head. Is that frustrating for you to see?
I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm saddened.
6 years ago, he celebrated with his colleagues when then Governor Scott Walker ordered the closure of the state's only juvenile detention facility.
I felt really good about where we were going and how we were changing how juvenile corrections is handled in the state of Wisconsin.
But this week, he watched as a staff member at that facility, still very much open, died on the job.
Why is this facility still open?
I think, part of the problem was that there was the change in administration.
Schraw says it was also missteps by the DOC in finding communities willing to host a new facility that kept Lincoln Hills in operation. In light of recent events, Schraw says it's clear the legislature needs to step in.
When situations like this happen, I believe it's also our responsibility to provide oversight, and it's looking like that really needs to happen.
But the facility did have some oversight. A federal court-appointed monitor checking in on it 19 times since 2017. The most recent report filed in March, citing improvements. Others argue it's a lack of funding from the legislature that's caused many of the issues, not just at Lincoln Hills, but at other facilities like Waupun Correctional.
You talked about the price tag on that. Is that something you think that you can get past?
Or it's just going to have to come out of DOC's budget. DOC has almost a $3 billion budget every 2 years.
Now, Schraw told me he's working to schedule an informational hearing sometime in mid-July. He added that despite lawmakers' busy schedules with campaign season in full swing, making change in the Department of Corrections can't wait until they're back in session in January.
Braden, thank you. Madison police tonight are investigating a shots-fired incident from early this morning on the city's north side. A caller reported hearing about 15 shots and some loud arguing shortly after 4 this morning. Officers responded to the 50 block of Northridge Terrace, just off Northport Drive, and there they found 6 shell casings, 1 unfired bullet near a parking lot. Police say they haven't received any reports of any injuries from the shooting. Hope you were able to spend some time outdoors today. It was a gorgeous day, much more comfortable compared to the humidity yesterday. Temperatures will drop a little tomorrow, but should still be another nice day. Meteorologist Jacob Montesano has more details in his First Warn forecast. Jacob?
Yeah, today was a lot more comfortable than yesterday, but still a little hot. But as a standout here, compared to when I stood out here last night, the humidity is much less of an issue. So taking a look at the current temperatures, 71 right now in Madison, a lot of the area in the lower 70s and upper 60s. But as I talked about, the dew points are a lot lower, 50s for much of the area. This time yesterday, they were in the upper 60s and lower 70s, and it's noticeably less humid, as I mentioned. Now, looking at the highs from earlier, those were also cooler compared to yesterday. Highs were in the lower 80s for a lot of the area. We did have highs in the 90s for a lot of the region yesterday, and we're likely not going to get anywhere close to the 90s for the next several days. So as we look at the overnight forecast, it will be cooler compared to last night, but still very comfortable. Lows will be dropping into the middle 50s as we are expecting clear skies. And then tomorrow is going to be another very nice day. It will be cloudier and it will be cooler. Highs will be in the middle 70s, although this time of year, below average temperatures are honestly better than above average temperatures, considering the average high is now in the 80s. So 70s tomorrow with very little, if not any rain at all. Not expecting that rain till Friday, but I'll track the chance of rain Friday coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. The Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra's Concerts on the Square returned. Its 41st season tonight. Couldn't have asked for much better weather. Thousands spreading their blankets on the Capitol lawn to listen to the Chamber Orchestra ahead of Grammy-nominated Afro-Caribbean group Tiempo Libre. Concerts on the Square, they are free to attend 7 o'clock each Wednesday night through the end of July. And next week's July 3rd show celebrates Independence Day with fanfare on the Square. Well, today marks the 9-year anniversary of the landmark ruling that legalized same-sex marriage in our country. To commemorate it, Senator Tammy Baldwin, one of the country's first openly LGBTQ+ senators, spoke at Richard Wagner Park on what the decision 9 years ago means to the state of Wisconsin and also the country.
Majority opinion implied that Justice Clarence Thomas issued an open invitation to reconsider the court's previous rulings in Lawrence and Obergefell and Griswold. We can't let our freedoms be determined by a few unelected justices.
Well, Senator Baldwin is up for re-election this fall against challenger Eric Hovde. We reached out to the Hovde campaign for comment on the anniversary of the decision, but they declined to comment. It is a tie race between former President Donald Trump and President Biden. That's according to the latest Marquette Law School poll, the first one taken since Trump's historic conviction. Now, the poll found both President Biden and Donald Trump tied at 50% among registered Wisconsin voters. And in the U.S. Senate race, Democrat Baldwin is supported by 52%, to Republican Hovde's 47% there. Now, this survey was conducted between June 12th and June 20th, and that involved 781 Wisconsin registered voters. Now, CNN sharing what the debate stage looks like ahead of the historic showdown tomorrow in Atlanta between President Biden and former President Trump. Historic because it's the first debate ever between a sitting president and a former president. It'll also be both Trump and Biden's first debate since 2020. News 3 Now and CBS News will provide live coverage of the CNN presidential debate, and that'll start at 8 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. In addition, you can watch the CNN presidential debate on Channel 3000 Plus on our website and all of our streaming platforms. Tomorrow's debate is set to last 90 minutes. Bradley Blackburn now shares what each candidate is doing in the lead up to the debate.
On the eve of Thursday night's debate, President Biden huddled with advisors at Camp David for the 6th straight day, while former President Donald Trump said in a phone interview he doesn't need much preparation.
I'm not sure you can lock yourself into a room for 2 weeks or 1 week or 2 days and really learn what you have to know.
On Capitol Hill, Republican leaders spoke out in support of Trump.
Tomorrow, I'll join the rest of the country in watching President Trump tout his record of historic success, while Joe Biden, he's going to have to defend his record of historic failure.
Democrats indicated Biden will stress, among other issues, his administration's efforts to bolster reproductive rights after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade 2 years ago.
Joe Biden will be standing on the debate stage tomorrow defending the right of women to seek an abortion, and Donald Trump must own his devastating Supreme Court justices who have caused this pain.
Former GOP Congressman Adam Kinzinger, one of only 2 Republicans who served on the House panel that investigated the January 6th riot, announced he's backing Biden.
If you'd have told me, Adam Kinzinger of 3 years ago, that you're going to be endorsing a Democrat for president in 3 years, I probably wouldn't have believed you.
Both candidates consider what they plan to say on live TV. They're also working on how they say it.
Be tough. Be tough.
According to a new CBS News poll, most Democratic voters want Biden to strike a forceful tone during the debate, while most Republican voters want Trump to be polite. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Earlier today, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas visited the southern border near Tucson, Arizona, where he faced questions about how migrants are screened. Secretary Mayorkas spending 2 days in southern Arizona touring Border Patrol facilities. At a news conference, he faced questions about safety at the border and those who are allowed to enter into the U.S. He was also asked about the recent arrests of 8 Tajik men who had sought asylum and were found to possibly have ties to ISIS.
We did not have derogatory information when they were first encountered. Concerns were raised subsequently. We used our law enforcement authorities to apprehend and detain them, and they are in removal proceedings as we speak.
Secretary Mayorkas also denied a report that claims Homeland Security has identified 400 migrants with potential ties to ISIS. And still ahead at 10, a failed levee, a collapsing dam, and flood-swollen rivers combining to swamp towns and force evacuations across the Midwest. We'll show you how the communities are fighting to keep their heads above water.
You're watching News 3 Now, voted Station of the Year 2023 by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association.
On the next Buzzed Into Madison, we're continuing our dairy farm celebration up here in Wisconsin Dells at Walk-Era Farms. We're going to meet Allie and hear all about the Walker dairy story and meet this sweet girl. That's next on Buzzed Into Madison.
Are you ready to make junk disappear?
I am so looking forward to this.
We make junk disappear. All you have to do is point. Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
We'll be there before you hang up the phone.
This is where all your dreams come true. You are the Moulin Rouge!
Madison's most spectacular night out is Moulin Rouge, the musical. Winner of 10 Tony Awards, including Best Musical. The New York Times calls it dazzling, gasp-inspiring. In Moulin Rouge, life is beautiful. Performances begin July 9th at Overture Center. Tickets at overture.org.
We're a really busy family of 6 and moving into a new house, and Empire made it really easy.
They brought samples to our house, quality products, and installation on our schedule.
And we're really happy with everything.
800-588-2300 Today, they say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, they are correct.
Enjoy one of our tasty steak patty sandwiches paired with a $2 medium iced coffee.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Senator Baldwin says I'm not from Wisconsin. But this was my childhood home. Graduated East High. Became a Badger in '86, where I've had my company for over 20 years.
And this is where we live. It's our family home.
I'm a fourth-generation Wisconsinite. It made me who I am. If Senator Baldwin's not going to be honest with you about where I'm from, what makes you think she'll be honest with you about anything? I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
The Jennifer Hudson Show. Roy Wood Jr. is done with DIY.
That's the furniture piece for the year. Next year, we'll do a bookshelf.
Then,
you know something's about to go down.
Josh Weissman delivers quite the dish.
On the next Jennifer Hudson Show at 3. You're watching News 3 Now at 10. Moving forward.
Hundreds of new affordable housing units are being built on Madison's north side. Today, developers broke ground for the Huxley Yards development. It'll be located on Roth Street near the former Oscar Mayer site, not far from Dane County Regional Airport. The two-building complex split between family and senior housing with more than 550 income-restricted apartment units of varying sizes, and nearby, a brand-new city park.
We also are going to be expanding the city's park system with a new park property that the city purchased adjacent to the site. So not only will we get some great new affordable housing, but we'll also have an additional park facility to add to the city parks.
This is notably the first housing development that will be complete since the Oscar Mayer Special Area Plan was adopted in the summer of 2020. And good news, the Madison area housing market appears to be easing a bit, bringing some relief to those on the hunt for a new home. Mad City Dream Homes analysis of the area market shows 526 homes were available at the beginning of June. That's up 80 from the same time a year ago, 46 more than in 2022. And this should continue as the summer timeline typically sees higher inventory. One realtor we spoke with says this makes for a slightly easier buying experience.
More folks on vacation, more folks out and about doing their things outside of the area. Competition's down a little bit. That also brings inventory up. So the summer can be a very, very good time to be a buyer.
Now, the average price for homes is still up year over year, with the latest data showing a selling price of more than $550,000. Around the Midwest now, where at least 2 people are dead after days of severe storms and catastrophic flooding inundated homes and prompted evacuations. Multiple rivers are swollen to levels not seen in years, and receding waters in some areas present flooding risks for those downstream. Laura Aguirre shows us the damage.
Raging floodwaters around the Rapidan Dam in southern Minnesota finally claimed this house, teetering on the edge of the Blue Earth River. Local officials say the dam, built in the early 1900s, is in danger of imminent failure.
We're seeing trees, whole trees, just flowing right down the river, which is an incredibly important reminder for folks to stay away from the water and stay safe.
Water levels on the Minnesota, Missouri, and Mississippi rivers will see their highest levels in at least a decade, say forecasters, with a number of communities already accessible by boat.
It's heartbreaking to see anything like this.
More than 20 river gauges across the upper Midwest hit major flood stage, with more rain expected in flood-soaked areas Thursday. In Iowa, the Little Sioux River has washed over small towns like Correctionville after a levee failed, forcing evacuations there and in several surrounding communities. The Clay County Sheriff's Office confirms one of the flood-related deaths happened there when a man tried to drive through rapid-moving water last Saturday.
They need to stay out of the closed roads. They need to stop moving barricades and driving around them. We put them there to keep them safe.
Minnesota's governor is telling residents Wednesday to keep their receipts to get financial aid faster as property damage continues to grow by the hour.
Until some of the water recedes, we won't have the full picture of that as well.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
A Minnesota amusement park near the Twin Cities says it is closing several rides to the public because of flooding, but the park will remain open. Valley Fair in Shakopee says it must temporarily close 3 rides: the Excalibur roller coaster, the Thunder Canyon splash ride, and the Renegade roller coaster, because they're in a potential flood zone from the swollen Minnesota River. Park officials say they are staying open because the majority of the amusement park is above the projected crest of the river. Well, check it out. A massive sinkhole swallowing up part of a soccer field. This was in Alton, Illinois. The sinkhole even devoured one of the stadium's light poles. A construction materials company says an underground mine collapsed at Gordon Moore City Park. Local Parks and Recs officials estimate that sinkhole to be 100 feet wide and 30 feet deep. Right now, that park outside St. Louis there is off limits while experts examine the damage and plan repairs. Time for another check of your First Warn forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Madison. Jacob?
Thanks, Eric. Before I talk about the forecast, let's take another recap at just how much rain we've seen. Now, thankfully, although we do have a few flood warnings, we haven't had anything quite as extreme as what we just showed across the country. But for Madison specifically, we have had over 7 inches of rain this month, which is about 3 inches above normal. And for the entire year, we are now over 5 inches above normal for the entire year. And compare this to last year, where we had a very bad drought through May and June. Complete 180 this time around. Now, looking at the forecast going forward, here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. Mild temperatures kind of near to below average for the end of June, which is on Sunday. Storms are going to return on Friday, but we're not expecting a ton of precipitation. Warmer by the time we get to 4th of July, but still not very brutal. We're going to see temperatures still fairly comfortable, even though they will be a bit warmer. Now, I do want to point out that the severe weather outlook for Friday does have a marginal risk for everyone, but we right now do not have an alert day, and we don't expect to see widespread severe weather, even though most of our area at least has a chance for that. Not going to see a ton of severe weather for Friday, but we are going to see some rain. Now, I'll get to the rainfall forecast in a moment, but first, Overnight, we're going to see low temperatures dropping into the middle 50s. We'll see clear skies and comfortable temperatures. And then for tomorrow, as I mentioned, we are going to see very nice conditions with dry weather, not until we get to the day on Friday, although we are going to see some cloud cover later in the day with sunshine early. Highs will be in the middle 70s. Now here's a look at that rainfall forecast. We are going to see dry conditions through the overnight hours Thursday as well. Once we get to the morning hours Friday, we'll see some showers and a few storms moving to the western portion of our area. And then for the late morning and early afternoon, we'll see that rain continue to spread out into the rest of our region. But we're mostly looking at rainfall light to moderate. We could see a few thunderstorms that could produce some heavy rain in small pockets. But overall, we're not expecting very heavy rainfall. And as we head into the overnight hours Friday, we still could see a few showers and storms, but again, mostly light to moderate, certainly a lot better than what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, with a few of those systems bringing very heavy rainfall. And then we could continue to see some lingering showers Saturday morning, but by the late morning Saturday, we're going to be dry. And then for the rest of the weekend going forward, we're going to remain dry as well. Total precipitation, as I talked about, not going to see a lot of it, only about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch at most. A few locations could see isolated amounts of up to 1/2 inch for those that do indeed see some thunderstorms, but for the most part, we're not expecting a lot of precipitation for the next several days. Now, we could see a few rounds of thunderstorms next week as temperatures do warm up with highs in the 80s. Right now, the best chance of storms next week will be Tuesday, with the chance of storms for 4th of July. But if you notice, through Monday of next week, with the exception of Saturday, highs will be in the middle to lower 70s, so it's going to be very comfortable. And even when it does warm up next week, still fairly comfortable compared to the triple digits that other parts of the United States have been seeing.
And still to come in sports, we introduce you to the newest Milwaukee Buck, who they took with their first-round pick, next in sports.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Everyone's vision needs are unique. At Shopko Optical, our caring team of professionals will work with you to ensure your vision is at its best. Shopko Optical can help you experience every detail, color, and breathtaking sight in clarity.
The Spring Green Art Fair is coming June 29th and 30th to downtown Spring Green. Hundreds of artists from around the nation will be there both days. Don't miss the fun and excitement June 29th and 30th in Spring Green.
Brothers Maine enjoys 4th of July festivities with family, friends, and fabulous kitchen and laundry deals. Our fireworks of savings on GE appliances and free delivery will make you ooh and ah. Feel like family at Brothers Maine.
Those of us in the middle class are getting crushed right now. The biggest corporations jack up prices on everything, and then they don't even pay their share of taxes. It's total bull, to be honest. But President Biden's plan closes the corporate tax loopholes and uses that money to protect Social Security and invest in clean energy to drive down our costs. It also caps prices on prescription drugs. The president's plan stops the corporate giveaways and lowers costs for us.
I did know that back pain, foot pain come along with the job of waiting tables.
This is Tony.
Things that I've tried have failed.
And this is Tony's Good Feet story.
Before my arch supports, I felt defeated. But since getting the arch supports from the Good Feet store, I have had no pain, which still is kind of crazy to me. I'm more positive. It's like opening up a whole new life, like sunshine coming out. I would recommend it to anyone. You've tried everything that's not working, give it a try.
See how we can help you too at the Good Feet store.
Dear unbreakable spirit, when the terrain is gnarly, you steady us. When obstacles are ahead, you lift us. When the turf is hostile, you inspire us. Own a legend. Toyota Trucks.
Right now, lease a new Tacoma for $369 a month or get 2.99% APR for 60 months on a new Tundra. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
I've been with U.S. Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at U.S. Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet.
What you see is important. That makes quality eye care important too.
Get personalized care from experienced optometrists at Shopko Optical. Better eye care. You'll see. Don't need glasses? See us for your contacts and save on your annual supply.
The first round of this year's NBA draft has almost come and gone. It's just about done, but we already know who the newest member of the Milwaukee Bucks is. The Deer selected A.J. Johnson 23rd overall. You can think of Johnson like you would a college freshman. He committed to Texas out of high school, but decided to play in an Australian basketball league, or the Australian Basketball League instead. Johnson struggled in limited minutes in Australia, but the 6'5" athletic guard shows promise, specifically as a shooter and an on-ball defender. And the top 4 picks of the draft were filled with Frenchmen. Atlanta took Zachary Rizachet first overall, while Alex Sarr went second overall to the Washington Wizards. Kentucky's Reed Shepard and UConn's Stephon Castle rounded out the top 4. The United States Olympics team unveiled their women's soccer roster for this summer's Paris Olympics, and to no surprise, Rose Lavelle made the cut. It'll be the former Badgers' second straight trip to the games, but she should have a much bigger role this time around. That comes after establishing herself in last year's World Cup as one of the women's national team's best players. Her squad will look to avenge a bronze finish in the 2020 Olympics. Speaking of the Olympics, Carter Booth and Sarah Franklin playing for Team USA in an Olympic hopeful tournament, the Norseca Final Six World Tournament, and the USA won this one handily over Mexico. The next step down from the Olympic team is this group, and a group that hopes to make next cycle's games. The former Badgers made a big impact, including this game-winning block from Carter Booth. The Brewers looking to sweep the Rangers after trading for former Cy Young winner Dallas Keuchel yesterday. He started for the Crew this afternoon. Hadn't appeared in the bigs all year this year and allowed 5 runs in 4 innings, which meant the Crew had some work to do. Brewers trailing 5-4 in the 4th, and look at Jackson Chourio. The Rook has caught fire of late. He'd come all the way around to score, and inside the Parker in less than 16 seconds ties us up. That score would hold all the way till the 10th, leaving Andrew Monasterio to play hero, and no one is catching that. It's a walk-off that'll roll all the way to the wall, and the Crew roll the Rangers 6-5, completing that series sweep. On the recruiting trail for the Badgers, and this is a big one, Wisconsin football got an in-state commit today from Eric Schmidt, a 5-star kicker who Coles ranks as the #1 punter in the country and the #8 kicker for his class. Speaking of Badger football, we're only 65 days away from kickoff, so we're at that time of year where we get all those preseason polls. Athlon Sports unveiled their Big Ten All-Conference selections today, and Hunter Wohler was the only Badger represented on the first team. Will Pauling, Riley Mallman, and Rico Hallman landed on the second team. We'll be right back.
The Stars and Stripes savings must end July 4th at Ashley. Get the guaranteed lowest prices with savings up to 75% off holiday doorbusters in stock while they last. And save even more on closeouts. Plus, take special financing for 5 years. Only at Ashley.
Finish your painting project with help from Dutch Boy, now at Menards. With over 100 years of paint experience, Dutch Boy is the perfect choice for your painting projects. Get a fresh coat in one coat with Platinum Plus interior paint. It's an ultra-premium paint and primer in one with amazing stain resistance that gives your space a long-lasting finish. Get an 11% rebate on Platinum Plus paint, now at Menards.
Save big money at Menards.
If there's one thing we like, it's choices. And your Ford dealer is the place to start. With a full lineup of vehicles and available powertrains. Get your ideal combination of power and capability with gas, hybrid, or all electric. But more important than the power you choose is what you choose to do with it.
Choose FlexBuy on Escape and get 1.9% APR financing for 66 months plus $1,000 FlexBuy cash. Only at your local Wisconsin Ford dealer.
On the next Buzzed into Madison, we're continuing our dairy farm celebration up here in Wisconsin Dells at Walk Era Farms. We're going to meet Allie and hear all about the Walker Dairy story and meet this sweet girl. That's next on Buzzed into Madison.
Choosing your own path. For those recovering from injury, illness, or stroke, choosing Encompass Health for inpatient outpatient rehabilitation may just be their most important choice.
A lot of law firms claim to be experts at handling injury cases that involve large trucks. But handling one trucking case does not make you an expert on the subject. Experience matters in these cases. One local firm has handled 25 trucking cases which resulted in payments over $1 million each, and hundreds of others as well. Because Wisconsinites know who to call when it's a must-win scenario. They call Habish, Habish & Rotier. National reputation, hometown service.
I was raised by my wonderful grandparents who took care of me when my mother was struggling with addiction. Later, when Nana got frail, I was privileged to help take care of her. I believe it's our duty to honor our elders. So I've worked hard in the Senate to protect Medicare and nursing home care from those who've tried relentlessly to cut benefits. The least we can do is help those who've helped us. I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
The time to save is now during Ashley's Stars and Stripes mattress event. Get the guaranteed lowest prices on top mattress brands. Save up to $1,200 instantly on adjustable mattress sets and special financing for 60 months. Save now at Ashley.
Going beyond the barometer in Wisconsin Dells, Thursday at 6.
Tonight on The Late Show. Colbert's got Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I love it.
Tonight.
Are we on CBS?
Well, listen to this. A snake, which was, excuse me, there we go. Listen to this. If I turn my mic on, you can really listen to this. A snake, which was previously thought to have been male, has given birth to 14 snakelets without having mated. The 13-year-old boa constrictor named Ronaldo surprised her British owner when she gave birth, as she had not had any contact with a male snake since he rescued her 9 years ago. Although uncommon, it is possible for female snakes to asexually reproduce in a process known as parthenogenesis.
Tell us about that.
A lot of words in there.
Tell us about parthenogenesis.
Parthenogenesis, and I didn't know they were snakelets either. I didn't know that was a thing. Final check of the forecast.
Yeah, it's going to be fairly quiet the next couple of days. Even the chance of some showers and storms Friday won't produce a lot of precipitation, only about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch. Overall, though, temperatures are going to be near to mostly below average through Monday. Saturday will be a little bit warmer, but highs will mostly be in the 70s. And then for much of next week, we'll see highs in the lower 80s, so warmer but still comfortable. With a few chances of storms, the chance of storms does include for the 4th of July.
All right, Jacob, thanks. Thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10, folks. Have a great night.